Audi, and Quattro. The two names are nearly synonymous. Quattro is the badge that for 35 years has carried us to this point. Our legendary all-wheel drive system revolutionized what was possible with driving dynamics in a mass-produced vehicle. As soon as it was released, our cars dominated the rally race circuit, and Quattro continues to lead the industry to this day. And while Quattro has evolved in the years since, there is still room for improvement. Today we are introducing the most radical evolution of Quattro since its inception, now with improved energy efficiency. When we announced the new Quattro with Ultra technology, fans and the press had, let's just say, concerns. But to understand the need for efficiency in all-wheel drive, we must rethink how all-wheel drive benefits us in the first place. All-wheel drive's sole purpose is to increase traction by reducing tire slip in various situations. Up to 90% of the time, we typically drive in conditions where two wheels propelling us forward will not slip, therefore no benefit. And even in those times when cornering or hitting a water puddle would cause slip, the need to have that traction gain usually lasts mere seconds before the situation returns to normal. Many on-demand systems have a poor reputation because they take up to 2 seconds to fully engage. They reduce speed or engine output and stay on long after they're needed, which negates the benefit. Quattro with Ultra technology was designed in-house by Audi engineers, works electromechanically, and can be fully engaged in under 250 milliseconds, or 8 times faster. A series of worm gears, pins, levers, and springs engage and disengage a unique front plate clutch to divide torque between front and rear as needed, while a rear claw clutch connects and disconnects the prop shaft and rear wheels for maximum efficiency. 250 milliseconds, while nearly imperceptible, is still time elapsed for tire slip to occur. But Quattro with Ultra technology uniquely solves this problem as well. Sensors monitor situations all over the car, such as wheel slip, cornering speed, engine torque, and more. All of this data is processed by a computer that is running simulations every 10 milliseconds, calculating what traction will be like 500 milliseconds into the future. For example, during a turn, the inside tire will be the first to lose traction. The system analyzes the driver's behavior with the turn, throttle, and wheel to calculate what torque and traction will be 500 milliseconds later. When it determines torque will exceed available traction, the system engages Quattro in half the time before it's even needed. Even in the most extreme situation, where no amount of prediction would be possible, such as hitting a water puddle from asphalt, the sensors can detect slip so early, there is virtually no perceptible difference from a traditional system. The threshold for Quattro engagement adjusts based on what driving mode you're in, or off-road mode puts it into the same full-time all-wheel drive as before. While Quattro is already efficient compared to the competition, Quattro with Ultra technology is more energy efficient than its predecessor without any loss of benefit. The all-new Quattro with Ultra technology, efficient all-wheel drive, has been redefined.
Almost every BMW can be equipped with xDrive, the all-wheel drive system by BMW. And this has two big advantages. On the one hand, you get enhanced driving dynamics. On the other, improved driving safety. This video will show how BMW xDrive can support your driving in everyday situations. The all-wheel drive system BMW xDrive is active all the time, but it only steps in when it detects potential danger. That way it supports you, for example, on gravel, sand, wet or icy roads. In a situation like this, with ground unevenly covered with snow, there are sections with more and sections with less traction. The xDrive system permanently monitors the speed of each wheel. If needed, it adjusts the power for every single wheel to get the best possible traction. All this happens within just milliseconds. Besides this, other factors are measured as well, like the angle of the steering wheel and the push on the gas pedal. The variety of data ensures that the system reacts to a given situation in the best possible way. But safety is just one side of the coin. The other is more driving pleasure. If you drive through a curve, for instance, BMW xDrive reduces the power on the inner curve wheels. This supports the side motion and gets you out of the curve faster. xDrive distributes the torque differently on every single wheel. When you take a curve with too much power on the drive wheels, which typically happens on slippery ground, you might risk over or understeering. In this case, BMW xDrive immediately shifts the power to the front or rear axle depending on the needs. It takes more energy to drive four wheels than just two. But over the years, BMW has continuously improved the system to accomplish a maximum degree of efficiency. For example, xDrive transfers only the amount of power to the respective axle that can actually be passed on to the road. The BMW xDrive gearbox and transmission have been optimized to lower fuel consumption. With BMW xDrive, you get safer and more dynamic driving pleasure on all sorts of road conditions, in all kinds of weather.
Perfect motion demands more than just power. Applied at the right moment, in the right place, and with moderation, only then will the sheer power of today's Mercedes-Benz engines reveal itself in optimum vehicle dynamics. The new 4MATIC system distributes fully variable torque, adapting to driver and situation. To save weight and installation space, the PTU was integrated into the main 7G DCT transmission. Via the driveshaft, the power is fed to the multi-disc clutch of the completely new rear axle differential. The clutch pressure is regulated by an electronically controlled proportional valve. If required, up to almost 100% of drive power is directed to the rear axle differential. 3 years of development and various conceptual approaches culminate in an ideal all-wheel drive. On Mercedes-Benz test benches, demanding test routes, and in the biting cold of Lapland, hardware and operating parameters were brought to perfection. As a guiding principle, the rear axle transmission is activated as often as necessary, as seldom as possible. At high speeds, the new 4MATIC almost always uses front-wheel drive. As soon as the driving situation requires it, additional torque is sent to the rear axle within milliseconds. For example, when cornering at high speed, under full acceleration, or when the system senses a sudden change in the road surface. When ESP intervenes, the rear axle is immediately deprived of torque, as is expected from Mercedes-Benz, where driving safety always has top priority. Perfect integration, intelligent control, low fuel consumption. With a fully variable 4MATIC system, Mercedes-Benz now offers exciting high performance and sheer driving pleasure also in the compact class. 4MATIC, all-wheel drive perfected.